Good morning. If you can believe it, it's Morgan Monday once again.
A work of fiction. Excuse me, Adonai. I believe every word he said was true.
This game really happened. Due to? For the purpose of protecting identities, all the names have been changed. Candied apples will be available forever.
We love when candied apples are available, probably.
They're important. Last week was funny because, as has kind of become the pattern, we went a little bit over, and the thing that gave us a good stopping point was that in the middle of the trial for our client, one of the witnesses just wasn't here. Not just one of the witnesses, but the witness who was also the cop who showed up to the scene of the first 4 murders Sosuke is being accused for, and supposedly witnessed him doing the 5th on another cop. So that's not looking good for Emma's case this week.
Damn it.
See if there's anything in the log from last week that stands out. Yeah, it definitely implied that she was, like, really banking on him and completely didn't expect him to just flake. I mean, I guess we don't know for sure why he was late yet. But we'll probably learn pretty soon.
Maybe.
There's just no way to know. So, Oria Holdings is not part of House Ikaria?
No, it is. House Ikaria is comprised of the literal Ikaria family, the Ikaria Financial Group, and Aria Holdings. But each of these parts is a separate entity from the others.
That is very confusing.
No, well, yes, it can be confusing, but it protects us.
Protects the IFG?
No, protects the house from itself.
If everyone in the Ikaria family was a member of the IFG, and the IFG was called the Ikaria family, that'd be much simpler.
I know it would be simpler, but that's...
Who the hell is this guy to keep Rockford waiting?
Are you addressing your question to me? I've never met the man.
Well, he's met you. Smacked you upside the head and cuffed you.
If you say so. I told you, I don't remember anything after I walked out of the holding room.
Chime in at any time. Apologies, Adonai. I was just trying to answer your question. Who the hell is Officer Rogers? You find his socials or something? I found a news story attached to a live feed. He's shaking hands with some men at the top of some stairs. Right now, what's the headline? City Council members thank heroic officer for his service.
Cringe.
Oh, well, that makes sense. This guy flaked on the trial for the person who supposedly killed his, like, buddy to go and get
buddy,
celebrated.
yeah.
Say what?
His buddy.
His buddy. There could be something there, but it just doesn't interest me with cops.
Pop pop out chat, close that, and perfect.
Parfait.
I completely forgot. Oh, never mind. This is more important. How can it?
M is outranked. If the politicians decided now was the time to do photo ops, she doesn't have the pull to go against them.
Are Officer Chopin's parents there?
Yes, both of his fathers were present. Adoptive fathers.
You trying to make me feel better? Adoptive or not, they are his parents, and their pain is real.
Of course. But that pain would be equally real if they weren't expressing it in front of those cameras, don't you think? If you're feeling guilty, Sosuke, please get it out of your system before the trial resumes.
I don't feel guilty. Even if I did kill that officer, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. But that doesn't make it right.
Taking a life?
Parents having to outlive their children.
And here I thought you'd be all about filial piety. You telling me you wouldn't take a bullet for your patriarch, Daisuke?
Of course I would.
And force him to outlive his son? How could you?
Adopted son from a branch family.
Do I need to point out how badly you're contradicting yourself?
Daisuke Ikaria could have let me waste away when the rest of the Hayakawa branch was killed. Instead, he placed me at the right hand of power, a seat of honor.
A subservient seat.
All seats are subservient. In my opinion, all seats are gay marriage.
Not the one at the top. I didn't know the rest of your birth family died, Sosuke.
Retaliation for the fall of the leaves.
Quite the dignified way to refer to the Ikaria killing all those blue bloods 30 years ago. Anyway, it was my understanding that that was a complete and total victory. The kind that left the blue bloods incapable of counterattacking.
Very nearly so.
Do you disapprove of what happened 30 years ago, Sosuke?
Of course not. The barbarity of the house's enemies left it with no other choice but to act. Morgan face.
Our noble, extra-legal activities versus their wicked, criminality.
Mild.
No way out, huh? By the way, I was asked to pass along a message to you. If you're given a way out, take it.
Told you that. I forget if she said to not tell him.
Yeah, I feel like I would... On the one hand, I feel like I would remember, but on the other hand, it feels like it wouldn't give me the option if it hadn't been something she said, but...
Or could just be like something that Morgan, because Morgan's a manipulator.
Looks like I've been playing chess while you've been playing chess like an idiot.
And it's the one I was about to pull.
She said her name was Mirai. Who is she?
Powerful member of the house on the side of Arya.
Slow down, loose lips. I didn't ask for her whole life story.
What? Oh, sarcasm. Sorry, I'm just surprised. Surprised you would take a personal interest in the outcome of this affair.
So, did that message mean anything to you?
I'm not sure.
You're a terrifically helpful client, you know that?
There's something you should know about me, Morgan. About the Hound of Icaria. I didn't earn that title as a bodyguard or a head of security. And I didn't learn how to kill in the military. The Hound of Icaria is the house's personal assassin.
What happened to the House of Icaria being refined? Elevated above their criminal past?
The house is elevated. That status has granted it more enemies than ever. Enemies that need to be taken out silently, but undeniably.
Undeniably?
What I do is send messages. They need to be received by the right people, and they need to know who it's from.
You kill so that the other houses and the nobility know it was the Hound?
Can't prove that House Icaria was responsible. Their own pride over being able to handle things internally and their humiliation at being outplayed ensures the deaths stay out of the papers.
So the entire police force can descend on a jaywalker caught by a reflection off of a dash cam. But the nobility gets to wave off the surveillance state with a perfumed handkerchief, flaunting how the rules don't apply to them.
Who would do that, Morgan?
Like I thought, a very pure expression of power. So all that talk of you being Makoto's head of security, that was all...
All true. I have been Makoto's head of security for the past year.
Did your courier business dry up?
Circumstances around Makoto had changed. I was asked to step in and fill a role.
And what you said about guarding the previous heir? Waving your katana around as soon as you could walk?
Circumstances were different then, too.
Why tell me now?
Because now that I've seen her, I don't think Rockford will have missed it.
No, why didn't you tell me yesterday, the first time we met, when I could have actually prepared for this? Clearly you've got some deeply held desire to rot in prison since you won't help me win this case. But what happened in the last 5 minutes that you've suddenly got cold feet? Atanai.
Yesterday, I thought you were just some outsider in over their head, who would surely drown if they knew who they were defending. Today, I think you're an outsider in over their head, who could stay afloat with a lifeline.
Thanks for the heads up. 5 minutes notice really comes in handy when your client asks you to catch a bullet. Excuse me.
I'm sorry to disappoint you too, Sarah. I can't imagine you're pleased to be defending a self-confessed killer.
I don't know what you went through when you were a soldier. And I have no idea what you've gone through as an assassin. Yesterday, Adonai suggested I shouldn't speak about those kinds of things, since I have no experience with them. I don't know if she's right about that. But soldiers and assassins do exist in this world. And they are still people. And I think I would be sad if I couldn't talk to any of them. On a related note, could you catch a bullet, Sasuke Ikaria?
No, Sarah.
But you're a cybernetically enhanced martial artist.
Bullets are very fast.
That is true.
I could probably catch an arrow if I knew it was coming.
Tell me more. Sasuke Ikaria, what do you think would win? One of every Pokemon or a billion lions?
Arceus could simply erase all the lions from existence.
However, a billion is a very high number.
Oh, I can't remember the name of the other two big legendaries, or I'd make a joke about how it could keep using the time one to keep going back in time and make sure you eliminate them all in one blow. In the same second.
Back in the courtroom.
So, you and your partner were the second officers to arrive on the scene?
That's correct, ma'am. When the 10999 went out, my partner and I were relatively center city. We were within jogging distance of the site after an elevator ride, so we proceeded on foot. Roger still hasn't shown. Emma must have rushed to London to adjust the reshuffled docket. I assume he was rushed. He does seem somewhat distracted. We arrived on the premises at 10:21. At 10:27, we assisted Officer Rogers in completing his arrest of the suspect. What did that involve? Reading rights to an unconscious man?
That's a good bit.
We helped Rogers finish cuffing the suspect, is what I meant. His hands were shaking.
No witness, counselor.
I'd like to ask London why he wasn't explicit about all this yesterday, but complaining about a detective not being forthcoming with the defense isn't exactly a winning strategy. He didn't hesitate to show me his involvement with the mafias yesterday. What's he got left to hide? It's just from the top. They all seem relevant. Why were you and your partner in Center City that night, Detective? Well, to be honest, I hadn't eaten dinner yet, and I was really in the mood for some kind of hot soup, you know? And my partner was kind enough to indulge me on taking a drive. That's all he's gonna say? It's not like I can call him a compromised witness just because he was in the area, but... what the hell is there even to press when his answer's that simple? I'm almost tempted to... Was the soup any good, Detective?
Really good.
I never got any, in the end. This hole-in-the-wall place in the mine, but when we got there... it turned out they'd gone out of business last month.
Ooh.
It had been a while since I'd last stopped by. I guess I always knew they weren't that successful, but I thought... honestly, I thought it'd lose some of its charm if it got popular. Maybe if I hadn't been so selfish, they'd still be here. You never know how much you'll miss that 7 out of 10 restaurant until it's gone, you know? Yeah.
For honor. Relevance? It's not relevant, but it is poignant and deeply human. I'll allow it. Or I won't punish it, at least. Now ask a real question.
Right away, Your Honor. Really good.
They couldn't possibly punish it. They knew no player would be able to resist.
Oh, that's literally true. There's a, The most peak example of that I can think of was fairly close to where me and my wife used to live. And I feel like all that needs saying about it to exemplify how much it's like the most 7 out of 10 restaurant we've frequently been to is that it was the restaurant connected to the lobby of a hotel.
Mm.
Like a proper restaurant. You didn't have to stay at the hotel to eat there or anything, but very much the just good enough that people don't just go get fast food.
I hope my local 7 out of 10 Chinese place doesn't close.
Oh. 7 out of 10 Chinese is better than some, like, 9 out of 10 other stuff.
It's not... I wouldn't even say this stuff is exceptional, but it's tasty. It's maybe the only thing I can get where it technically costs less than $20 and I still get a ton of food.
Oh.
Yeah, usually once a month when I'm at the end of the month and waiting for my food stamps to refresh, it's like, well, my money's in. Time to get this sweet and sour and a ton of rice meal that will last me for like 2 or 3 sittings.
Hell yes. Something magical about it.
Yeah.
And how did you and your partner go about clearing the building? I took point and my partner covered me, checking the rooms behind us as we went. It was tense, searching the rooms with that racket blaring from upstairs. You were still searching...
Why'd I do that? Hate it!
You were still searching for suspects, even though there was a 10999 on the 3rd floor? Rogers had already reported the manner of his partner's death, Counselor. We weren't gonna run upstairs to try and defibrillate. How was that report made? Over comms around 10:17 p.m. Is it common practice to separate from one another when responding to a 10999? It's one of several valid approaches the department advises in critical scenarios. Did you ever lose sight of your partner? I might have. So she might have lost sight of you.
Speculation, Your Honor.
If I can't see you, you can't see me. That's not speculation, Your Honor, just grade school logic.
Overruled. Spill the deeds, witness.
Yes, me and my partner were separated as we cleared the building. For more than a minute, I'd say. Interesting. Dumb question, Detective, but did you have your body camera on? Officers aren't required to turn on body cameras when responding to an emergency, Counselor. And detectives aren't required to wear body cameras at all. Like I said, dumb question. By any chance, did your partner have a body camera going? Perhaps out of a characteristic abundance of respect for the rules? Matter of fact, I believe she did. So of the first 4 of our city's brave policemen to arrive at the scene of a crime, only one of them thought to turn their body cam on? It's my understanding that Rogers couldn't turn his on, as it had broken earlier in the week. And Tariq Chopin? I don't know why he didn't have his on. Does Emma know? Does Officer Rogers? Thank you for giving us all of that to chew on, Detective London. Come on, give me a break. I was trying to be helpful. No, I mean it. Blackjack.
Why do you mean blackjack?
I'm especially interested to hear you describe how my client was unconscious and helpless by the time he first appeared on any body cam. Shall we review that footage together? I wonder if we can pinpoint exactly how many wounds he received in between his arrest and when his mugshot was taken.
Redirect, Your Honor?
Really?
What's she doing now?
The prosecution called Detective London as their witness and asked their questions. Adana just had the chance to ask her own questions during the cross-examination. After the cross-examination, the people can redirect if they have additional questions for the witness.
Oh, it isn't just one for them and one for us.
More like an eye for an eye for an eye until justice is blind and bloody. She wants another round. Why? Just stalling?
Detective London, are you aware of ongoing police investigations for a figure known as the Hound of Icaria?
I fully thought she was about to bring up Heartbreak.
When I first played, I thought she was going to bring up Red Hood.
Oh! Not stalling. Approach, Your Honor.
Wait, do I finally get to say the line? Oh, hold on, this is happening too fast. Okay. Oh, so you're a pro, and they're already here.
This Hound of Icaria is obviously some kind of case file that the Organized Crimes Department is working on. Detective London isn't qualified to speak on it.
Homicide, organized crimes. Is there that big a difference? Depends on the career of the witness in question. Detective London, for example, spent 6 years in the organized crimes unit.
He what?
You didn't know that?
Where are you taking this, Emma?
I hate to admit it, but I think I need spoilers as well. If you ask him about this, what's he gonna say? That the Hound of Icaria is an assassin who leaves calling cards at each of his kills, terrorizing the Hound's perceived enemies without shame. And that the lead suspect in those cases is a man around Sosuke's age and height, with gray blue hair, a mottled spine, and a large tattoo of a dog across his back.
Sosuke, you vain son of a bitch. You got made with your shirt off? Bless you. You cannot let the jury hear that, Your Honor.
I really want to.
If organized crimes wanted to arrest Sosuke, they should have done so already. He's on trial here today for these 5 counts and nothing else.
The defense has once again claimed that their client is merely some veteran who's been victimized by greater forces. But the police believe that he's in fact the deadliest soldier the Icaria have at their disposal. That's not irrelevant.
No, it's just prejudicial as hell.
Girls fighting. Obeying the legal precedent. The tension, the human drama. I'll just be giving a summary. The case file won't enter the record.
So you won't even give me the chance to object to the evidence? Your Honor, if you do this, the jury will be spoiled within seconds, and I'll have my client served up a mistrial before the day's through.
And some other lucky adjutant will get to have the rest of the fun. I've severed the jury's feed for the time being. I'd like to hear exactly what the witness has to say before ruling on this testimony's inclusion.
But Your Honor, the gallery
is not your concern, nor a concern of justice. This trial will remain open to the public until such a time as I or the state feel it shouldn't be. Decision made. Thank you, Your Honor. Out mode. just happened?
The jury's gonna take a bathroom break. Emma will get to ask her questions, but in all likelihood, the adjutant will make sure they never hear the answers.
So, we aren't any worse off?
Sosuke might be.
What do you mean?
This gallery is filled to the brim with cops. They all think he killed Chopin. If London regales us all with tales of the Hound's exploits on top of that...
Don't worry, Sosuke. They can't do anything to you here.
Because we're in a courtroom. I won't spend the rest of my life in this room, Sarah. And even if I could, I wouldn't. Detective London, if you would. Please testify as to the... Oh, for real?
Your Honor? What now?
Hey, Rockford, that witness guy who flaked on you made you look dumb? Yes? He's finally here. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no more questions for the witness at this time.
Really? But I...
The redirect fizzles out. Counselor, you want to snap it up?
No, Your Honor.
Hey, Detective London? Nobody wants to talk to your ass.
Miss Rockford let it go.
She doesn't hold anything back in the courtroom, but only because that's what gives her the greatest chance of victory. If the jury wouldn't hear it either way and she has no need to stall for time, she won't stoke the coals for the fun of it.
Unlike me.
So if you hadn't thought against that redirect up to the very last moment...
Bullet caught, huh?
Yeah. Nothing impressive about putting my arm between the gun and my...
heart?
I was gonna say stomach.
The analogy seems weaker somehow.
No one really cares about the stomach break killer. Oh, the stomach ache killer, though. Ooh.
Nothing impressive about putting my finger in the barrel of the gun so the bullet doesn't shoot out.
The bullet only shoots out in the opposite direction and covers the shooter's face in soot.
Also, stomach ache killer is every stomach ache.
Stomach ache killer is every night I'm drafted into the IBS ward.
Fuck.
There he is.
The man of the hour. The hero who put a stop to the Hound of Icaria and brought justice to the city over the loss of its favorite son, Tariq Chopin.
Do you wanna, or shall I?
I don't care either which way. You do have a bunch of the voices in this episode so far. So unless you have some, like, divine inspiration for him, I don't have any complaints.
I have a weenie voice. Do I have a weenie voice? Of course I do. What am I talking about? Patrol Officer Rogers reporting for duty. You don't have to say that. Sorry, then, reporting for duty. Name and occupation. Patrol Officer Huey Rogers. Occupation, Patrol Officer. Former partner of Tariq Chopin. Apologies for earlier. It's fine. The court understands that the city council had need of your... Oh, and I said my name wrong. Won't happen again. And your tardiness? What's that? Being hours late to this trial? Did I not set a reminder?
Does seeing him here in the flesh jog your memory at all?
No, not at all.
I'd think this guy would be pretty hard to forget.
You must have sustained quite the concussion, then.
As an appetizer. From what I saw, he's lucky nothing important leaked out of his ears. Emma's going to fucking kill this guy.
Okay, hear me out. This is my bargain to even out how we're handling voices, and you have to understand it's killing me to say this. I think you should take 80.
Okay.
Just because since going forward, it looks like there's going to regularly be like your defendant on top of you, on top of you and Sarah on that side of the table, and the prosecutor, and often the witnesses. So I think at worst it would just be only like 3 voices in the same scene for either of us.
That seems like it makes sense. Plus, at least for the rest of this episode, the other characters we've seen who feel like they would show up again, I think are all, like, done by you, also.
Maybe. Please take good care of my idiot robot daughter.
I will do my best.
Shall we begin, Officer Rogers? All right, from where? The start. Oh. Well, it was a pretty boring, normal night. Me and Chopin were just driving on a route, windows down. He was already getting car sick if the windows weren't down. Always getting car sick. And around 9:45 or so, my partner heard shots fired. So off we went. What does that mean? Well, shots echoed down in the lower wards, so I wasn't too sure about the direction. But my partner was confident it'd have something to do with the Blue Bloods. That area is a known hotspot. As we neared the street, we saw people slinking away from it. We got the message. People can sense that kind of trouble, even when they don't know it. Something bad had gone down, and no one wanted anything to do with it. Front door wouldn't budge. I peeked around into the alley, but the fire escape was out of commission. And my partner shot clean through the door handle.
Chopin was that determined to get inside based on some echoed gunshots and a few context clues. Suppose context clues are most of what I use to find the place too, but...
Oh, when you arrived, the only way into the building was locked? Yeah, and so we had, strong reason to believe the shooter was still in the vicinity. I was in favor of waiting for backup at this point, but my partner, he was convinced the place was dead empty already. So he was moving a good bit faster than me right up till we got to the second floor, and we heard a loud slam.
A slam?
What kind of slam?
Like slam? or like salam? Or like slam?
I don't know. It was loud though. And Chopin gets all deadly serious and insists I stay, and he goes ahead. Up to the third floor.
I like that she's still doing the thumbs down.
After a bit, he yelled down to me, saying everyone was dead and I should come join him. That's when I heard another heavy thud.
Such a scrunkly face.
I didn't know it was the sound of my partner's body hitting the floor. But I put two and two together when I saw that man standing over him. Let the record show the witness has finally identified the defendant.
If you heard a noise at a crime scene, the natural conclusion would be that you were not alone.
Sorry, I love seeing Morgan and Sarah both, like, do the thoughtful looking up to the signpost.
It's so good every time.
That one scene from Spider-Verse that was going around for ages.
Yeah. I mean, I especially remember the first, like, one of the first scenes in episode 1 was, like, we got that, like, beat of, like, Morgan does the face, Sarah has, like, an empty, like, a ... dialogue box, and then she does it too. So it feels very intentional, very, like...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that scene from Spider-Verse was good, so we're doing it.
But if Chopin thought they weren't alone, why would he insist on splitting up?
I feel like that does make sense. And that's it. Chopin must have wanted to split up so that they could cut off possible routes of escape. Perhaps I can shed some light on the late officer's actions.
With more speculation.
With some helpful theorizing.
Look, I'm sorry, not to be a lesbian, but every time we go to this screen, I just briefly get distracted by, like, Dan, Morgan, your Bobby.
They really did that to her.
She really is breasting boobily right here.
Capped off with hard evidence. Officer Chopin explicitly told his partner to stay behind. And the only reason he'd do that is if he thought it'd let them catch an escaping suspect.
Why would he think a suspect was escaping if he heard a noise upstairs?
He wouldn't. He'd only think a suspect was escaping if the noise he heard was... I mean, the fire escape feels most tangible. Maybe? It's in bad shape. But I don't know if it would audibly creak. They heard the gun before. I'm not gonna bet anything on it, but I feel like the fire escape feels more tangible than the dumpster.
Fire escape?
If you heard a fire escape slam, wouldn't you come running? Oh, I completely forgot about the slam. Of course the slam was relevant.
Fire escapes do not slam, counselor.
Well, for a second, I thought you might go for that one. That's okay, let's get my chips back, because it's obviously the dumpster. A noise that came from the alley.
What kind of noise would that be?
A noise like the one I was treated to when Detective London clumsily shut the dumpster out there. Hey now, it left my ears ringing too, you know.
What are you even talking about?
I'm talking about an exit plan. In other words, how the real culprit managed to flee the scene.
How does a dumpster lid relate to some imaginary suspect's great escape?
On 963, 172 minutes.
The only way to get from the third floor to the street without going past the two cops clearing the building would be by going down the fire escape and into the alley.
A fire escape that's broken.
So no one could climb up it. But anyone could jump from it onto the dumpster below. Oh, yeah. I can kind of see it.
That must be a dead pixel you're seeing, Your Honor. Were there boot prints on top of the dumpster? A dent in the lid?
Well, that's...
No? No, of course not. So there's no proof, no reason at all to think that anyone jumped down onto it. And no reason for us to entertain this train of thought.
Damn it, that's... I've got nothing. Even if there had been damage to the dumpster, I could never prove it was caused by a fleeing culprit. Don't I? I'm thinking. I know, but might this not possibly be the time for you to stop thinking? And instead, flip the go board like you've told me to do before? You're horribly misquoting me. But Emma says there's no proof that anyone fled the crime scene. But if there was proof of that, what would it look like? Proof that someone was in that room when the police first arrived, but not there when the police got to the 3rd floor. They would have had to take the fire escape if Rogers never saw them. And they couldn't have taken the fire escape without first opening the window. It's been bothering me since yesterday. I was sure those windows were closed when I left, but they've been open ever since the scene was secured. And I can't testify to that. The one time I know the truth and I want to get it out, but I can't admit it without screwing myself over. Don't I? Any luck?
I really like how, unlike Death Note, everyone's really, Morgan is really expressive when she's in her own thoughts, and so I just like to think that Emma stares at her across the courtroom and watches as her face contorts 5 different ways in silence.
Completely, like... Especially with how one-sided their, like, rivalry is, just Emma not having any thoughts of, like, what could she be thinking? Like, what is her internal monologue? But just, why is she being so weird? Is she gonna say something?
Well, it's one-sided romance in the same way that Clark Kent has a one-sided crush on Lois Lane.
True, but...
Except, you know, instead of Clark and Lois and Superman, it's Morgan and the serial killer Emma's obsessed with.
Yeah. But, like, still, like...
No, I know. So it's mutual to Morgan, damn it.
Yeah. Similar to this case, it's mutual to Morgan, but she can't express that being the case outwardly at all without getting in a lot of trouble. Pardon the interruption, Your Honor. I have no objections at this time.
And the witness may continue.
Please do. But rewind a bit first, if you could, since we got off topic. And don't spare any detail. Tell the court exactly what you saw, felt, and heard that night.
Of course, the witness is a trained officer of our city's prestigious police force. I'll gladly recount every minutia for us. Line by line. Like, every detail?
Especially the irrelevant ones.
Yes, sir.
I did get a little in my head just now. Better listen through his whole testimony at least once before I start looking for holes.
It was a quiet night, but then my partner had heard gunshots. We headed for the nearest known Orca hotspot and arrived to find the building dead quiet. Door was locked. I checked the alley, but didn't see another way in. Mr. Pond shot off the lock through the handle, and we entered. Wah!
Wow.
Followed some kind of loud music up the stairs, and there was a slam, and my partner bolted upstairs. About a minute later, I heard a thud from upstairs and came running upstairs to find the defendant standing over my partner's dead body.
Something stand out to you, Adane?
Yeah, my ears pricked up a bit.
The thing is perked up, is it not?
What? Let me focus.
Sound system, the fire escape, and the front door. Most people are maintained, missing the ladder. Freely move back and forth between the two rooms. Don't think that'll be relevant. Still playing by the time the crime scene text starts scanning environment. Morgan didn't enjoy having to turn it back on, but that won't be relevant, probably. And this is... No, the lock is damaged and non-functional. I guess the picture you can see there's a... Looks like a hole shot through it. Okay. Nothing to question here. Find the building dead quiet. You just said the sound system was on, you fucker. Wanna bet? How could you have arrived to find the place dead quiet when there was a sound system blaring on the top floor?
The witness must not have heard the sound system. It was a noisy city, even the lower wards.
But he did hear the music. He described it in his testimony just now.
Followed some kind of loud music up the stairs.
So the building was dead quiet when you were outside, but you could hear music from the first floor?
Well, yeah. The music pretty much as soon as we stepped inside.
Only after you stepped inside?
Yeah? Sturdy door, I guess. Your Honor, the witnesses established that the front door was very secure and tightly locked. There's nothing strange about it blocking out some amount of sound. But it blocked out, like, all the sound. Once the door was open, the music was booming.
The scene of the crime was a known Blue Blood property, yes? A safe house apartment complex of sorts, as I understand it. We must have made a number of modifications to the premises. That front door certainly looked like a newish addition. Check. Maybe they redid the windows, too? I don't get it. I don't mind stating it plainly, Your Honor. That building has been thoroughly... And that's the most relevant one. The others might be true. That building has been thoroughly soundproofed, Your Honor.
You think the building was soundproofed?
I know it was. I experienced it myself, stepping out of the lower wards and into its dingy nightclub vibe. That would explain what the witness experienced, wouldn't it?
Perhaps, but...
But that wouldn't explain the building being dead quiet when they arrived. Not unless the window next to the sound system was closed. Showed my hand a bit there. She knows what I'm gunning for.
Counselor? Asking the court to accept that the building happened to be soundproofed is not the flawless argument you're making it out to be. Oh, I'm keeping too much nose from him. He doesn't have nose. He has pry. Window in question opens up in the alley. Rogers could have easily missed the noise coming out of it.
Even though he already testified that he checked the alley before his partner shut the door open.
He might have nearly neglected to mention that he heard music at the time. Huh? Music in the alley? I would have noticed that kind of thing, right?
Fast on the uptake, this one. I'm looking at this arcs from every angle I can, rotating cubes in my mind as fast as my programming will allow. And I'm still seeing a crime scene where the windows are open. What am I doing wrong? There's a trick to it. Try focusing on just a single cube first. Once you've got one spinning consistently. Yes, Your Honor, the windows were found open. It's a contradiction. I gotta take a second.
Uh-huh.
Just the occasional, like...
Sarah talking about cubes got you, huh?
It's just the occasional, like, Sarah and AD being, like... quirky dorks. Like... the synchronicity of being, like... having a certain increased amount of, like, analyticalness from being androids, but also being, like...
Bimbos.
Yeah, being bimbos. Just the occasional times they click on completely the wrong topic. The windows were closed when the officers arrived, but open by the time Rogers got to the 3rd floor. That means that someone must have opened them. Someone not currently on trial, Your Honor.
Should stretch before attempting mental gymnastics that intense, Counselor. You claimed that the windows were originally closed and only open at the moment that some mystery individual fled down into the alley. But we know Creek was standing in front of those windows when he was shot. We can see where his blood landed, on the sides of the windows that face into the room where it went open. If, as you claim, the windows were closed when he was shot, and his blood somehow ended up on the wrong side of the glass.
That's...
your theory's flawed. A far-flung fantasy with nothing other than Officer Rogers' poor hearing to support it. All the actual evidence shows that at the time of the murders, the windows were exactly as we found them, flung open.
Her logic isn't faulty, and I can't overturn it with any given piece of evidence. But I can point out the flaw in how she's presented her evidence. Thank you for the advice about taking full advantage of arcs, by the way. But trust me, there are some things that are best understood by visiting the crime scene in person.
What?
Helps keep you from getting flipped around. Wait a minute, hold on. The dumpster? Why is the dumpster here? Oh, to represent the claim that someone ran out. I mean, the thing that stands out is, I think... Let's see... I didn't realize this. The fingerprints match Creek and the rest of the pod. But that might not be relevant, I guess. That just makes it look even more like they were already open.
But the thing that I feel like I got was that it looks like the windows, like, almost slide open. They don't, like, hinge open. Or something weird like that, but I don't know what.
Okay. I think I've understood. Like, when I first did this one got me really confused as to, like, what specifically they were asking for, and I think I noticed something that I'll explain once you get through it.
Okay. Look at Creek's autopsy. Don't think this is gonna be relevant, but... Look at the log again real quick. I mean, again, that's the best thing that makes sense. What makes you so certain that the police found those windows open?
I haven't seen this get interrupted. Because the arc shows us exactly that.
Oh, well, cheers to the hardworking technicians who put that together for us. Well, apologies, Your Honor, I'm just confused. Why is Miss Rockford talking about those windows? As if they swing open. Okay. So yeah, that was on the right track, I just clicked the wrong thing first.
What are you talking about?
Those windows don't swing into the room, they're pulled to the side.
Hey. What?
Didn't you see the fingerprints they found on the handles? One look at that should tell you which side of the glass faces indoors. Funny, wasn't that in the arcs? Oh, this is some very chic interior design I'm seeing. Very wabi-sabi. So if the windows only slide parallel to the walls...
It wouldn't matter whether they were open or shut when Creek was shot. The blood could always end up on the same side.
Hey! I said I finally got the windows lined up right in the arcs. You didn't say that. At least, not aloud. Thank you for always listening, Sarah. But I said it just now, so whatever. What do you mean, lined up? The blood spatter. Looks a lot nicer now, doesn't it? Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
It is so inappropriate for an adjutant to do.
But it's gotten us all on the same page. We can all reasonably conclude that the windows were closed when Creek was shot, at the very least.
Yes. Though when they were next opened is...
Something you'll fight over, I'm sure. Now, if this ARCS data could just tell me whether the windows are actually soundproof. I doubt the ARCS could simulate that accurately for you, Your Honor. But if we re-examine the scene for that specifically, it should be simple enough to...
Yes.
Something you'll fight over, I'm sure. Now, if this ARCS data could just tell me whether the windows are actually soundproof. I doubt the ARCS could simulate that accurately for you, Your Honor. But if we re-examine the scene for that specifically, it should be simple enough to
Waste the court's time? Forgive me for repeating myself, Your Honor, but even if we prove conclusively if the windows were soundproof, the defense's argument still hinges entirely on the omission of one detail in the witness's testimony. Putting it another way, because he didn't hear the music, it doesn't mean he couldn't hear the music because the soundproof windows were closed.
The devil's proof.
Yes, and you actually used it right this time.
I did my reading.
She's effectively conceded that the windows were soundproofed, but she's also shifted tactics, and it's a formation I don't recognize. That's to be expected, I'm no general. But I don't need Makoto here to tell me that war is deception. So how about a little misdirection? Listen up, Sarah. The important thing about the devil's proof is that it's always on our side.
The side of underdogs, lovers, and dreamers the world around.
The side of the defense, innocent until proven guilty. That's what makes the devil so infuriating for the prosecution. The people make a fair point, Your Honor. There really isn't any hard evidence for my fleeing suspect theory at the moment. But the people haven't disproven it either, have they? I forget the exact details, Your Honor, but all we need is a shadow of a doubt, right?
Overturned 5 dead bodies. The testimonies of 3 cops. And a room soaked to the floorboards in forensic evidence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They knew. Fury, indignation.
Lost your mind? Are you trying to piss off everyone here?
Yes. Come on, you don't hate my theory that much, do you?
I'm warming up to it.
Then I'll stick to the facts for now. At the time Rogers and Chopin arrived, the front door was locked. The music was still playing at the scene of the crime, even if Rogers didn't notice it until stepping inside. And at the moment Creek was shot, at least, we can be certain the soundproof windows behind him were closed.
Yes, those are the facts. Why are you restating them?
Because there's something that's been bothering me. If we accept these as the facts, one part of the Honorable Officer Rogers' testimony makes no sense. I mean, yeah, I was thinking that since the... Well, no, we can't rely on it being soundproofed, so whether or not they could hear the gunshots isn't relevant. Found the front door lock, destroyed it, that's just
I will
restating.
say, she did. Morgan did say that Emma has essentially conceded that the windows were soundproof. Just
True.
That claim was not relevant.
Went to third, I'll just do it on
I
second.
love this track. Donkey Kong to come into my apartment and stab me through with a katana, killing me instantly. Oh yeah, even says she even says it's a fact that the quote soundproof windows behind him are closed.
Yeah. Because this isn't relevant for the course of those events. If they could hear the music, it's not out of the question that they would hear the thud from a different floor. Same for that. I guess I'll I'm not gonna put any extra points into it, but...
How could these two officers have set off in response to the sound of gunshots, if the room was deafened at the time the gun was fired?
Now you go there?
Oh, crap, yeah.
Wait, excuse me, what are you talking about?
It's the very first thing you told us, officer. Your partner heard gunshots. But how is that possible?
He said it. He said it. Even on the radio, he called it in.
True enough, I can see it right here in the police network's database. 9:45 p.m. Officer Tariq Chopin reports shots fired. So he did, and since we can't ask him to testify, we'll just have to take him at his word. But just to clarify, Officer Rogers, are you saying you never heard any gunshots yourself?
Well, I didn't have my head out the window like him, so... Is he a dog?
That's what you're trained to do, isn't it? Report anything you see or hear across the network?
Well, one report's usually sufficient.
But confirmation is always ideal, right? Yes or no, Officer Rogers?
I never heard any gunshots. Hang on, are you really?
So you never heard a peep, but your partner, he somehow managed to waltz you both over to exactly where 4 vicious murders had been committed. Before anyone else got there.
I just drove where he pointed, so... Counselor, you need to be very careful here.
Thank you for your concern, Miss Rockford. But don't forget, I hate losing.
Pardon?
I said, but don't forget to direct your comments to the bench.
Bring that up now?
Every cop in the room already thinks I'm a mob lawyer at this point. Compared to that, mocking the memory of the deceased is small time. I feel like you're gonna say something shocking here, and I should stop you. But I can't really stop you before you say it, so... I'm just confused is all, Your Honor. How could Officer Chopin have possibly arrived at the scene of the crime when he couldn't have heard any gunshots? Unless he was asked to come there directly. Oh, like you got an Evite? Exactly. Officer Chopin answered a distress call from the Blue Bloods.
He's so awesome.
Tumult, commotion, uproar, pandemonium. The air in the courtroom tonight is every single demon.
No, ma'am. Tell me, are these her usual tactics? Turning the entire city against her for no discernible reason?
No. Well, the first time we met, she did technically.
Your Honor, the defense is completely out of line.
The gallery is pretty poorly behaved, too. You gonna rein this in, or should I?
Allow me. Tariq Chopin was an upstanding officer with no marks on his record. You say he was some kind of blue blood pawn, but he had to break into their building in order to enter. You had the gall to claim he answered a distress call when there's no panic button, no phone records to suggest one was ever sent.
True.
True? If that's all you have to say after posthumously accusing the son of 2 city councilmen of being corrupted by a blue blood pocket change?
It's a fair point. Chopin was the son of 2 city councilmen, and by all accounts a dedicated police officer. He wouldn't work with the Blue Bloods without an unusually strong motive. The kind of thing that would make the headlines.
What are you...
Time to flex your media literacy.
Yay, we have an achievement for that!
Choose and present the article that shows a motive for Chopin to work with the Blue Bloods. Remember, you can reread any articles you've collected this episode in your phone. But you already read them front to back, right? Well... The ballot measures could be... It's the first one that popped into my mind, but let me skim each of them. I don't think this one's going to be relevant. Because this is mostly stuff related to schools, student debt, not necessarily anything that... I mean, federal agents might be concerned, but not quite anything connected to city. I don't think this one has anything to do with it either. So it's either the convention or the ballot proposals. Lack of security. And this mostly has to do with yeah. I mean, yeah, I just think it's oh, yes! His dads were both sponsors of the Atlas project, the Atlas Rejuvenation projects. And that feels... I mean, that is definitely the most connected to the case that any of these articles are. I'll even... I mean, how's my... I'm doing okay, but let's go. Let's put it all in. Officer Chopin would never compromise his well-documented morals for anything less than an earth-shaking opportunity.
Yes, Counselor, but his family is very well off. What could this earth-shaking opportunity possibly have been?
How about a donation to his parents?
God, she's so awesome. What?
Sidebar for a moment.
What?
How are you all thinking about voting? Oh, don't get me started. I'm a political junkie.
That's bad. Why don't you...
Sorry, on the ballot measures specifically.
Huh?
Am I the only one who sweats over this stuff? Maybe it's old-fashioned, but I was hoping to hear some diverse, nuanced opinions on Proposition 492.
Wait, but that's the...
Funding of Atlas Pillar rejuvenation projects. I think it's a nice idea. Bringing prosperity to the lower wards, literal stability to everyone above them. And of course, the mother of all paydays to anyone lucky enough to own the land it'll require.
Wait a minute, you don't mean... You...
Am I the only one who reads the news anymore? Wasn't counting on this being rhetorical, but... Who on the city council is sponsoring Proposition 492?
Its parents?
One last question. Less rhetorical this time. This crime took place at a known Blue Blood property. So why was this found here? Okay. I mean, the red ink feels the most tangible. Behave. Don't know who the dark card belonged to. It is a little interesting Chopin's fingerprints were on this, but I think they said that the theory is that he like picked it up to examine it and then was stabbed. So I don't think it's relevant. And also the datapad itself is there because it was Creek's.
Wow!
Highly confidential red ink documents were found underneath Chopin's corpse. They're almost entirely illegible by now. But you can still make out a reference to P492 right here. That struck me as odd.
Enforcing the canopy. State construction project that massive in the lower wards would mean...
Even the police can't keep a crime scene secure down there unless they're willing to play ball with the blues.
It'd have to get past the blue bloods.
Or through them with open arms and firm handshakes.
What the hell are you trying to say? Counselor Morgan, if you...
Sorry, wasn't sure I actually had to spell it out, but it certainly looks like Patrol Officer Tariq Chopin was working with the Blue Blood Mafia to defraud the city. Uh-oh.
She's so awesome.
Gekido. Vehemence, wrath, outrage.
She said it.
She said that?
What did you just say? Are you trying to piss off every cop and every politician in the city?
Sorry, I'll gladly retract my statement. That is, as soon as any cop or politician or prosecutor can explain to the court how Tariq Chopin was able to arrive at the crime scene that night, when we all know damn well he never heard any gunshots. It is a bit of a pickle. What have you got for us, witness?
What? I don't know. He has good ears or something. Or good intuition or whatever. Your Honor, the simplest explanation is that Officer Chopin was tipped off by a CI that he neglected to inform his partner about. Hey, Chopin wasn't...
A patrol officer with secret criminal informants that he'd hide from his own partner? That sounds horribly corrupt. And you called my comments inflammatory?
Corrupt? You got brass, all right. It's real rich coming from a mob lawyer defending the Hound of Icaria.
Big uh-oh. Your Honor, the witness's last statement
Was a regrettable slip of the tongue. Frankly, his entire testimony has been less than ideal, and so...
I had already snipped the jury's feed, but the crowd...
Seriously? He's the Hound?
Confusion, disbelief,
Isn't Hound that...
growing furor.
cop killing animals?
Indignation.
Knew that the whole house stank like shit.
Abject disgust.
That's what you say about a man's family, you... Or what? You'll stab us in the back, too?
Sosuke. Please calm down. And shut up.
Bad apple. Hang the whole house with him.
Nausea.
Your Honor, these outbursts in the gallery are not ideal, but we need to focus on preventing... It's not enough you butchered him like that. Animals.
Nasal Shelovic?
I'm always saying this. You gotta pay this lawyer to spit on his grave, too? At least the Blue Bloods know their place.
A bitier?
How dare you! All you pigs were colluding with Blue Bloods to rip off everyone in the lower wards. Better a Blue Blood than the piss running through your veins.
Oui. Sarah, hold him. Pardon? Stop him from doing anything stupid now. Okay, it was fun, but now you've ruined it. You're all done. This court is now in recess. Bailiffs, clear the room. It's not enough.
Nah, I'm not done talking. I want to speak. Alan Rogers.
Judge according to the
the
flesh. We're getting into like Disco Elysium skill titles.
I haven't seen that.
This heat.
Burn the house.
Zetai. Tension like a haze in the air.
Rip him out by the roots.
Ravager. And on the back of my neck.
Every last one.
Every last one.
Should have taken you out when I had the chance, you...
A bead of sweat and something that feels like... Hello.
Die, you son of a bitch!
Behind us.
Get down.
What am I reaching for? I don't even have my gun. Oh shit.
Hey, are you okay? Are you hit?
Sasuke, I am not injured. The danger's gone. The heat of the moment replaced by the chill of a cold sweat on my lower back. But why did you push me down?
What do you mean, why? Why did I
take my time turning back to trace the bullet's trajectory. Vaguely, I'm aware of stomping feet as the crowd rushes to the exits, but the sound is far away.
Reflexes. Sorry.
You are right there, ma'am.
I'm fine, detective. I didn't realize that was Emma for a second. Thank you.
For a moment, I lock eyes with Detective Kasim London. In that instant, I recognize a nameless flickering across his face, cold and sharp like frostbitten furs. Nameless. We don't need a word for it, because we only ever see it once. At the very end. Oh, I don't know who's purple.
I still don't know.
Okay. I've taken 60 seconds to yell into a couch pillow, so maybe now one of you could tell me what the hell happened out there. Oh, it might be Burroughs. How did that man get into the courtroom? The building? And with a weapon like whatever the hell that was. It was his own arm, Madame Barrows.
modded illegally at some literal chop shop. Fully prosthetic, but fairly low tech. It uses a simple air intake system and projectiles made of enamel. Enamel as in teeth? Where on earth do these people... Doesn't trigger any metal detectors, looks organic from the outside. But if you're aiming at flesh, it gets the job done. And are metal detectors all that stand between a crazed gunman and the law of the land? No, Your Honor. We're looking into it now. But we already found some discrepancies in the personnel files of courthouse security team members. He probably got his hands on a key card, lost, bought, or stolen, and had it modified to get him in the building. Would that work? Only needs to work once. This time, it did. I doubt he expected to leave alive, so... You ask me. We're lucky he stuck with something more directed, instead of an explosive. This is a nightmare. What am I supposed to do now? The jury must be horrified. I don't know how we could proceed. As I recall, the adjutant cut their feed the moment Officer Rogers mentioned the Hound of Icaria. So they didn't actually see the shooting. And by the way, how does a patrol officer know that my client is the lead suspect in that case? Would anyone like to explain that to me?
Well,
you'd have to ask organized crimes. But the mood around Rogers has been celebratory. I'd imagine there were plenty of cops eager to describe in detail what he'd achieved by catching Sosuke red-handed. Allegedly. There's no presumption of innocence in station locker rooms and cop bars, Counselor. So the OC department buys Rogers a round of drinks, and 24 hours later I've got a shooter in my courtroom.
Who was he?
The shooter's been ID'd as Bowen Bresson, low-level muscle in the Blue Blood Mafia. Priors for possession, dealing, assault.
To can't attempt to carry out an assassin in a courtroom full of cops is quite the step up. Any connection to Creek's pod?
Older generation, different part of town. Not exactly thick as thieves. So trying to execute Sosuke wasn't an act of revenge. He was given orders. Yes, that's very interesting, but it's a job for the police to handle. Counselor Morgan, I assume you'll be filing for a mistrial. About that, I feel it's in my client's best interest for the trial to continue. What? A Blue Blood gunman just tried to shoot him.
Jury didn't see that. All they know right now is that they've been given a long lunch.
You too? The goal, Your Honor, as I've always understood it, is for a defense attorney to do what's best for their client. Right now, clearly, the Blue Blood Mafia is convinced my client killed 4 of their men. And every cop in the city thinks he killed Officer Chopin. If he walks on a mistrial, he won't be able to walk down the street without getting shanked. Sosuke Ikaria doesn't need a mistrial. He needs a media blackout. I really hate that term.
Right, Your Honor. The story spreads the Blue Bloods tried to assassinate Sosuke. Every juror in the city will assume he's guilty. We won't be able to find out anyone over the age of 10 who hasn't heard of him. Let alone put together 12 unbiased peers to judge him.
Even if that's true, and even if it's possible, what you're asking for is...
Detective, is the building still in lockdown?
Standard procedure says to keep it that way another half hour. We would have to... The stands were full of police officers, and any one of them could... Ambulance chasers will pay prime for a story this rich. Someone's gonna break rank.
We don't need the blackout to last forever. We just need it to be intimidating enough that the story doesn't leak until the trial's over.
Which will be when exactly?
You could finish tomorrow. There aren't that many witnesses left on the docket.
Finished tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ugh. Fine, yes, we'll have a blackout. A big, scary old blackout like we're the shadowy masters of the universe. Happy?
Perfectly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Detective, follow me. You'll need my authorization to activate the building's blanket protocols. Right behind you, ma'am.
Surprised to be arguing for the same thing as you, for once.
Thanks for not gagging from the effort.
The other defense attorney in the city would have taken the mistrial. Dumped the Hound of Ikari on some other idiot's doorstep and cashed their check.
Some other idiot, huh?
Or is it you can't dump him? You under house arrest already?
I haven't felt threatened by them.
It could change fast if you fail them.
House Ikaria are high society, haven't you heard? And I'm beneath their notice. I don't think they'd bother to axe me just for underperforming.
Sounds exactly like the kind of thing that high society types would do. Going this far for your client, though.
You know me? Defender of the weak, champion of the downtrodden. I'd go through a lot more than this to keep my face out of the papers. Hopefully, when the story does eventually leak, the focus should be entirely on Sosuke. But if this means people start recognizing me, remembering me, Bo and Preston will be glad London did him in one. I'd twist the knife slow as a second hand if he's... as a second hand. I guess. Like a clock. Which still doesn't make a lot of sense. You okay?
You okay, baby girl? Compared to you, I guess not. Never seen anyone get shot before.
Oh. Right. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. That was... maybe I'm feeling jealous. Spend all this time poring over crime scenes and diagrams. Trying to get inside the head of Heartbreak of all people, and... maybe I get it into my head that I'm some kind of unfeeling badass. Just to freeze up like a deer at the sight of actual violence. I'll need to get over that.
Do you? Do you need to get over it?
I have a responsibility.
A prosecutor isn't a hangman, Emma.
No. The hangman does their job right, the neck snaps and the subject's dead before the pain ever reaches their brain. I do my job right. Sosuke Ikaria spends the rest of his life drooling on himself while Meg's haggle over property rights to his gray matter.
If you feel that bad about it, you could always recommend a lesser sentence.
And that's just the thing. Never felt that bad about it at all. Runs in the family.
The way she whispered it in that half-stuttering sigh.
I didn't fully process that the first time it played out, and now I'm just thinking about how like the The next case in Ace Attorney is the one where you deal with the prosecutor's family.
Oh.
Scared. Very scared.
Very scared. And especially, like, that... I don't remember if we've touched on Emma's family much before, although I know the last name Rockford has come up in a couple of articles about, like, major figures in the city or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure she even heard it herself. Later in the day. Still in the State Building, floor 48. Alright, that should free up your phone from the blanket. Thank you, Detective London.
You're leaving blanky mode.
You're, welcome, Counselor Morgan. Something I said? You didn't say anything yesterday about what the Hound Vicaria really is. Come on. There's a lot of code names to remember. Would you believe me if I said I didn't put 2 and 2 together? Maybe I would if I hadn't seen you act that fast back in the courtroom. That was a lucky shot. From across the room with the crowd moving around him? Yeah, real lucky. I know, I'm agreeing with you. Though it would be a lot less lucky if you were, say, already watching him. Did you know? No. But I'm flattered you think I'm brave enough to stick around for a shooting that I knew would happen. But you recognized him? What was that?
Does he know? You thumbnail.
Tickled a spot in the back of my brain, even in disguise. It helped that the guy was fidgeting around all day. Bresson had been in the courtroom all day. How long had he waited to take his shot? Did you get a good look at him? I did not. You shot him very fast. Eyes bloodshot to hell and back. Nosebleed, flushed extremities. He was high as a drone. Probably metahexphenyline, considering how well the Blue Bloods have done pushing it. Metahex... Nirvana? The party drug that college kids are huffing? It's been a long time since I was in college. I guess it could be good for a party in small doses. I'm hypothesizing here. Don't take this out of context. Sure. But at higher doses? A couple of months ago, I saw this guy stumbling around one of the open markets. Eyes dilated and mouth moving a block a minute. He knocked over some bicycles, so I cuffed him to the rack, hoping he'd sober up within the hour and I could move on. I took a phone call, and when I looked back, he was trying to chew through the chain. He broke 4 teeth. And he had started biting his arm by the time I knocked him out. Ew. But anecdotes are cheap, and one bad trip will hardly slow the ball now that it's rolling. You believe the hype? You think they're gonna legalize it? Within the next 2 quarters, if you ask me. What'll happen to the Blue Bloods monopoly? Up in smoke. Pharmamegs and dispensaries of the world will step in to reap the rewards. And the Blue Bloods will have to slink off and cook up some other haze to push. The gray tide rolls on. The Blue Bloods have legitimate income sources, right? Like Cyanus? Yep. Some of them are even pretty profitable, like their host clubs and pink rooms. So if the Blue Bloods can run those businesses just fine, why can't they stay in control of Nirvana once it's legalized? There's competition and name recognition and locale and real estate and... basically, they can't afford it. The buy-in's too steep, and everyone past the door likes it that way. Legal drugs are a whole other realm of profitable. Folks like the Icaria do not want to share.
Gee, not even on special occasions?
Well, like I told you, there was that meeting last year, but
their playdate fell apart.
Hey, what you said back there in court about Prop 492? You really buy that? Tariq Chapin working with Blue Bloods?
It's quite the unlikely pairing, I'll admit. But that might explain why it ended the way it did.
Whoa.
So, what was the verdict?
Really made it look very ominous, but it was also interesting to note that part of his, mod was also glowing.
Mm-hmm.
The verdict is only handed down after the jury is finished deliberating. That may take... The show must go on.
And the shooter?
Getting introduced to the accommodations down at the morgue right about now. He was some blue blood muscle named Bresson. Ring a bell?
As I've said, all these blue bloods are...
He tried to shoot you, Sosuke. And I was standing very close to you when it happened. I'd like a little more detail than that.
I've never met him, never heard of him. That's the truth. But the Besson family is known to be in forces of blue blood leadership.
So it's the old guard who want you dead? Does that make the young bloods an enemy of an enemy?
Didn't you tell me Creek was a young blood? Considering what I'm on trial for, I doubt they're fond of me either.
God damn it, Sosuke, who doesn't hate your ass? I need to try harder to disregard the nonsense that comes out of that adjutant's mouth. It might be starting to sink in. Sosuke, you were captured when you could have been ignored. You were tortured when you could have been ransomed. And now these people are trying to kill you. In one of the most secure buildings in the city. What are they after? Why are you at the top of the Blue Blood shit list? Is it because of... Hold on one moment.
Because of silly pranks? The silly pranks you did to them?
Well, if this is a thing where you can ask him about each, then going bottom to the top makes the most sense. And if this is... I definitely want more info on this if possible, but... Well, let's check that.
Is it because of what happened a year ago?
How do you know about...
What happened a year ago? A meeting between the old guard and the house, apparently. You were going to work out a deal for the Icarian network to distribute a blue blood product?
Why would we want the basement-cooked swill the blue bloods make to be sold in our storefronts, our pharmacies?
You wouldn't. Not until after Nirvana is legalized. Yes, I figured some stuff out. Stop pouting.
He will not.
Probably not capable of it, even after the lip heals up. He's just got a face for it.
There was a meeting last year, yes. A private meeting that was to be kept strictly confidential. The IFG met with the old guard to discuss a deal. It fell apart. Voices were raised, weapons drawn. I was in the shadows and I... stepped in front of a blade for Makoto. The house settlers were perturbed afterwards. They feared for Makoto's safety and perhaps felt they had grown overconfident. The Hound is a useful tool, but not indispensable. So they ordered me to guard Makoto full time.
Isn't that a great honor, guarding the heir to the headship?
Of course it is.
Then why do you sound like that? You get points for picking up on it, but you need to learn how to take advantage of it. So your deal fell apart, blood was drawn. I kinda assumed that was par for the course in your world.
It's not unheard of.
So why are the old guard still trying to kill you and Makoto a year later?
I don't know. I don't know, Morgan. Because I'm not an old guard.
Is there someone we could talk to who is? There's always someone. For a price. But if that's how it's gonna go, I'm gonna need a drink first. Hold on, real quick. Keep forgetting about these. June 16th. Police officer lower wards patrol. Likes saltwater, rosemary, graffiti art. Dislikes sand, marshmallows, the lottery. Wakes up at 5:30 a.m.
Of course, and it gets everywhere.
Can't stand mice. Balance easily upset. Like saltwater, dislikes sand is funny. And Barrows, Melissa Barrows. I don't remember if I probably read it out loud, but I don't think I processed her first name. Superior Judge of the Higher Circuit. Likes hot springs, cold beer, warm tea. Wake up before her alarm. Dislikes waking up before her alarm. Cat person. I happen to be allergic. Mark answer as yes.
Yeah.
Never forgets a password shorter than 10 characters. Favorite season, fall. Here to join? What are you talking about? Sorry to disappoint, but I was here first. The net's slow as shit in this wing of the school. No one else comes here if they don't have to, so it's a quiet spot to read. Yeah, it is a detective mystery. So what? Like, 5% of the books in the library are. Oh, wait a minute. Morgan's schoolgirl Yuri dreams. I kept interpreting the red as Morgan. Because that feels like the thing they've done, but also like her thoughts and dialogues in these segments have been in the white before.
Miles.
Well, it's not like I own the room. If you want to convene your club meetings here with all your many members, I can't exactly sue you. Especially not since you're going to be some big shot lawyer. Join your club so I won't get evicted? Isn't that like blackmail, counselor? Mutually beneficial, sure, so it's just plain old corruption. I guess like either it's not Morgan or it is Morgan, but she would sound different when she was younger. Whatever. As long as you don't go around telling people I'm a member, you can put me down.
I think it makes sense to assume this person is Morgan because they are bitchy in very similar ways.
That's true, though. The main thing that made me think of it also is like I feel like this in the sketch here, the hairstyle feels like it's falling in a way similar to Morgan's, but that's not necessarily super tangible since we haven't seen her with her hair down hardly at all, and some of that is just art style things in general for this game.
We need to add our phone numbers too? No, I don't actually care.
Is something wrong?
Why would you think that something's wrong?
It's very unusual for you to wake up mid-transit. When you decide to nap, you fall asleep very fast and you sleep very deeply. Suspiciously so. Sometimes I'll try to wake you up and I could swear you're just pretending.
I've no idea what you're talking about. Besides, you're the one who's been quiet.
I had been bothering Sasuke, I think. Pestering him about catching bullets.
If you were bothering Sasuke, he'd say it. Turn to the side in that bitchy pose of his. Evidence that, transmisogyny still affects eggs.
But I can't catch a bullet either. Even though I'm fast, and I can see fast. Sasuke was the one who acted while I just...
Sasuke's trained for that exact kind of thing. Trained for his whole life, the way he tells it.
Father built me to be strong. I should be able to...
David didn't build you to be anything, Sarah. He didn't even really build you. Just watched you grow.
And do you think I am still growing? Still developing? You think I could get taller?
I think you shouldn't get your hopes up about that. Come on. You can bounce back faster than that.
I'm sorry. I suppose I am still processing what we saw back in the courtroom.
When Detective London took out that shooter?
I know that Detective London has been a police officer for many years. It stands to reason that he'd acted decisively in circumstances where so many lives are at stake, or are at risk. What I am still thinking about is the man he killed.
Yeah, but there's only so much speculating we can do about his motive until...
I am not thinking about his motive. I am thinking about how he is dead.
You haven't been out and about that long. Everything's new to you, even the most ordinary stuff. I guess I forgot that includes the extraordinary, too.
You've seen violence like that before, then?
Yes, I have.
Seen people die?
Yes, I have.
Seen more people die than most your age? Most lawyers?
Probably a safe bet.
This is a private subject, isn't it?
Death is always private. I'm no exception.
Do people ever get used to it?
I can only speak for myself.
Have you gotten used to it?
Every time is like the first time.
I hope that everyone is like you, then. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing anyone should get used to.
Sorry to disappoint you, then. There are no people like me.
Oh, Sarah.
Oh, right, I did have him. Irashai.
Irashai. Irashai.
What do I own the pleasure of hosting my two favorite girls?
One's Sarah, who's the other?
Figment of my imagination, apparently. You want something to drink?
What do you recommend?
I've just got in this case of beautiful, tawny, deep reds from volcanic soil across the sea. Savory and full, with notes of cherry and oak.
Sounds delicious.
You just described a tree, down to the dirt.
Well, I would very much like to try it.
Sorry, you're underage.
He's an android.
A very realistic one. What'll you say to customers who walk in and see her drinking at the counter?
Irashai?
Oh, no, that's Sarah said that. Oops. I think she knows a little bit more than you do, pal. Water's coming right up. Wait, back up. Your client is the Hound of Icaria?
And I was the last person to find out what that actually means.
It should be easy enough to tell whether you did the deed or not. Hound always leaves a calling card.
So I hear. Is that literal?
Stark white business card laid neatly on the ground with the house's insignia.
I don't understand why the house would go to such lengths to let the victims know who attacked them.
These neo-ability types, their whole lives are galas and boardrooms and cocktail parties and wine tastings.
Torture.
Where every sentence has a front and back side to it, and every glance is a whole unspoken clause. Them, an unambiguous act of violence is an exclamation point that they can't misconstrue. And the Icaria aren't exactly at the top of the neo-ability pecking order. Reminding the others that they've still got their fangs is a viable strategy. They know they're outclassed in terms of how many mountains of gold they have.
That doesn't explain why such a supposedly great assassin has gotten made on more than one occasion.
Well, he's probably just doing his job there. If all he needed was to get away with murder, he'd be a prisoner. He'd be a poisoner or a sniper. All the major houses love to use body doubles. If he kills the target behind closed doors, the house can just bring out a spare. Or hell, claim the entire thing never happened. But if the Hound kills where a house's rivals can see, the damage sticks.
You know a lot about the nobility, don't you, boss? Are you considered part of the neo-aristocracy?
Do I look like I got that kind of sway? I don't run the bars in Midtown as a hobby, kid.
Wouldn't know it looking at how profitable your wine section is.
Don't catch on.
The Hound was a nasty surprise, but the big reveal isn't making anything click for me.
Blue blood assassin trying to miss the mid-trial. I don't get it either, but the blue bloods aren't as rational as they used to be.
Used to be?
I traded with them a good deal when I was younger, and they were richer.
Traded what?
Stock tips.
Oh.
This was before the Icaria cut them down?
I was a young man hungry to establish myself, and the blue bloods were the biggest game in town. Rust weren't even a twinkle in some psycho punk's eye back then, and the Icaria cartel were just that. Drug smugglers and dope runners. The blue bloods used them as couriers.
A reversal of fortune.
Would be their names on opera houses and hospitals all across the city today if they...
If what?
If the Icaria hadn't killed them all.
But didn't they have allies? Connections?
Morgues were overflowing with cerulean blood. No one wanted anything to do with them.
But they were the victims.
Corporate partners are risk-averse. Political alliances require you to bring something to the table. When you fall that far, that fast, the common folk assume it happened for a reason.
They thought that the Blue Bloods deserved it just because it happened to them?
All that was left were the old-timers, the grandparents and the great-uncles, suddenly without heirs. They recruited latchkeys and orphans during the Red Decade, found family that became the first gens, then the young bloods, and then the young bloods.
Oof. What about the money? You're starting to sound like a real human.
Some of it, the cash, the gold, the jewels, the Icaria just stole. The vast majority of it was held overseas, where it was safe, untouchable, and impossible to get your hands on. Frick, without the right blood.
I feel like a sleepy Monday.
Nah, I just have it happen. I'm basically awake.
I see.
Sometimes the yawning just curses me.
Yeah, that's fair. Locked behind GFA.
Getting butchered by the Icaria was a bad beating, but losing that money was unforgivable. The rest of the Blue Blood Mafia around the world will never accept them back into the fold until they recover it. Exiled from paradise because they tempted fate with their hubris. Has a certain poetic charm to it, no?
It would have to be a very sobering poem.
Those are the ones you remember, aren't they? Probably why the Blue Bloods are still humming the same old hymns, passing down the same ghost stories and urban legends.
They did seem to be a surprisingly superstitious bunch. Crossing their fingers over the Red Hood and... Hey, what's a little lord?
That's another one. New spin on the oldest tale in the book. A promised prince. Big. The belief is that exactly one kid survived the fall of the leaves. One lone heir to all the fortune the Blue Bloods lost. Got spirited away overseas or out west to be raised in secret, and one day he'll come back to reclaim what's rightfully... You know, I'm guessing you've heard this one before.
Is there any truth to it?
Old guard certainly seem to think so. Need to think so. Probably what's keeping them alive. They can just hold on another 5 years, they'll finally find the heir they've been looking for, and then they can rectify decades of embarrassment and shame. Thinking like that is what makes young blood start talking about maybe the old guard doesn't care what happens to us. You know what happens to us?
What did you expect? Blood's thicker than water. The original full expression is thought to be the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Thank you, Sarah!
That actually suggests that camaraderie between those who have fought together is stronger than simply sharing a common relative. Yeah, well, if that were actually true, then maybe people wouldn't have amputated the expression centuries ago.
Still, this is 30 years of water, or blood covenant if you prefer, that we're talking about. Young bloods give their life to the Mafia. Each of them had to choose it over their own family. A pretty raw deal to cut him loose just because some sheltered kid, only valuable for his DNA, decided to show up after all these years.
You think the old guard would throw away the young bloods if it meant reuniting with their literal... Good lord. Would throw away the young bloods if it meant reuniting with their little lord?
You know it. So are the young bloods.
That doesn't seem to be a dynamic that incentivizes them to look very hard for this little lord. No, it incentivizes them to smother the royal bastard. If I assume my client is innocent, that means someone else killed Tariq Chapin. Someone who didn't do it in self-defense.
You mean the son of the city councilman?
Adopted son. His parents are government officials. Even if they're loaded, the Mob Act can't protect all their records. Sarah, look this guy up. What do you want to know? The rare triple thinking pose. I do want to go ahead and hit that term real quick. I have started... It's intentional because I think it's charming, but I have started to do the, like, 2 fingers on the chin thinking pose because of this game. Protection of Reasonable Anonymity Act. I'm trying to remember if this was one that we got in episode 1.
Might have been.
Passed in 2059, amended in 2061. Intended to protect the safety of individuals with income above the 99th percentile of the nation. Let me see if there's... Labeled as the Mob Act for its supposed goal of hindering mob justice. Establishes procedures and funding for technology that helps individuals within that particular tax bracket keep their name, face, and address off of the main net. Ensuring that they and their families are not prejudiced against just because of their financial status. Yeah, I think so, because highly publicized crimes, corporate executives were stalked, harassed, and assaulted in organized flash lynchings. Rings a bell. After a particular chaotic attack that resulted in the hospitalization of a 14-year-old, PRA was signed into law in just under 11 hours. Flash lynching has not gone to trial since 2062. Was a resurgence in corporate immigration over the last few decades. Yeah. Still a worthwhile thing to... I mean, not a lot of the search terms come up again, but... Then not a lot of the articles came up again until earlier today, so... Let's start with education, and then if it lets me ask about the others. What was his education? Tariq Chapin had a law degree. Who gets a law degree and then becomes a patrol officer?
Son of a politician. It's not a bad path. If your superiors know you're connected and smart, and can recognize when the law is being broken, they'll keep you far away from anything real. You can coast for a year and then move into politics as a veteran of the force who's hard on crime.
London did mention he was far too principled to be likable or reliable. If joining up with the police was nothing but a calculated move, that means he had a clear plan for what to do after. And it probably didn't involve defrauding the city in a real estate scheme. How old was he?
Don't give up on your awesome idea. I was just going, oh, Morgan, don't give up on your awesome idea.
Come on, Morgan, you gotta hold on to anything you possibly can at this point.
You pissed off everybody. You gotta keep it up.
Yep, you gotta stick. You can't go in there and be like, my bad.
You can't go in there and be like,
His age is listed as 27, but the entry has been edited a number of times. There has been a great deal of back and forth between database contributors in the last 36 hours over the addition or removal of an asterisk. It seems his original birth certificate was lost. Well, that's shady as hell.
Kinda.
Here it comes.
If he was an orphan 27 years ago, that's pretty firmly in the red decade. A lot of paperwork was getting lost back then.
That's a kind way of putting it. What would be an unkind way of putting it? The governments of the world were scrambling. I want to know about his adoption. His fathers adopted him in 2066 after 3 months of visits to Gospel Home orphanages. A private philanthropic institution that is no longer in business. Bankrupt or bought out? Bankrupt. Damn it. If they had just gotten swallowed, the parent company might have kept their records. The adoption itself was somewhat of an event. There are multiple news articles and photos of it.
Not trying to cast doubt on the realness of their connection, but they wouldn't be career politicians if they let a photo op that good pass them by.
Unless they wanted to draw attention away from who they were adopting, and... No, a child showing up quietly in a politician's life looks guilty as sin. They wouldn't let people think. This isn't useful. I can go in circles all day speculating about this. I can think of a few reasons why a cop would get murdered at the scene of a crime like that. But Tariq Chopin wasn't some ordinary cop. The strongest motive that comes to mind is...
Wait, do you really think...
You think Chopin was the little lord?
You're the last person I'd expect to believe in fairy tales, Red.
Can you honestly say it doesn't fit?
If we, for a moment, assume that unicorns and dragons and Tsuchinokos are real...
First of all...
Hey.
What do you mean? Tsuchinokos are very well documented. I can show you...
Thank you. And yeah, it's possible that Chopin was the little lord.
I can always trust Sarah to have my back. And if any young blood knew it, they'd want him dead. To prevent the old guard from abandoning them.
3 thoughts come to mind. 1, this is all guesswork on your part. Even the most zealous youngbloods wouldn't off a guy just because he happened to be around 30 years old and adopted.
They would have had to have seen something that at least suggested it.
2, as I recall, the only youngblood you know of is this Creek guy.
And Creek was dead before Chopin ever entered the building.
There's his name pretty handily.
The only young blood I know?
3, I can think of at least one other group that had killed to prevent the Little Lord from reclaiming his throne.
House Ikaria.
And who better to cut him down than the most loyal rook?
And that would neatly explain why the old guard would be pissed enough to try and kill Sosuke in a courtroom, unfortunately.
Stay positive. Just because the old guard thinks Sosuke killed their precious heir doesn't mean he actually did.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah, get some footage of me making this next one, from over there in the corner.
Was?
We'll shoot a promo. I just found this hidden gem where this guy made the best drink ever. That kind of thing. Where it's kind of cheap and fake, but like you're in on the joke and it's not pretending to be genuine.
Boss, with the number of followers Kintsugi has, a video longer than 9 seconds posted at this time of day.
I don't want to hear that depressing shit. We'll cross-post or whatever.
Does it have to be that corner? The lighting will be bad.
Any corner. Just make sure it's from a distance.
From a distance? Wouldn't it be better framed if...
It'll look like shaky cam, found footage. It's more legit that way.
My hands do not shake, but I'll try. What are you doing?
Making you a drink, obviously.
That's quite the treat. Why?
Because we got some heavy shit to discuss. Starts with ice. What do we do with crushed ice at Kintsugi, Sarah?
Kick it under the fridge.
Kick it while it's down. Exactly. Rock ice or nothing when you're mixing a cocktail.
Hang on, you taught her that?
Good face.
Really good.
There's a drain under there.
Not in my kitchen. When the ice melts, it warps the floor.
Apple lime juiced. Pay no attention to the second half. I'm using here, Sarah. Red likes it tart. Now you're the lawyer, and you got a hell of a mind for all this stuff. Egg white. Toss the yolk unless it's weakened. In which case, it's a weekend. In which case,
Put it in the bowl in the fridge.
seems to me like you're approaching the shooter from every angle but the deadly serious one. Orchid. If a customer says they prefer simple syrup, you let them know we won't serve them anymore. You need to consider that maybe that shooter wasn't there for Sosuke.
I told you, they kicked me out after only a few minutes. No one's sending an assassin after me for that.
Whiskey, black label or higher.
Then shake the hell out of it.
Word of mouth can be deadly down there in the fog. I saw her leaving the building can easily become I saw her running away.
If someone wanted to get to me, a courtroom filled with cops would be a pretty shitty place to choose to do it.
Yeah, but it might have been the only time and place they knew you'd be. Good for a garnish with charred cinnamon for smoky ambience. Serve immediately.
Well, let me do a quick middle skim. Ice, lime, egg white. Whoops, that's not right. I don't need that.
Ice, lime, white.
Sweet syrup made from almonds and sugar. Oh, so like an almond, a little bit of almond flavor. Interesting.
Also, don't forget that that the yolk goes in unless it's a weekend.
Yeah, very intriguing. I thought I meant like toss the yolk out.
Oh.
Only save it on the weekend.
Okay, okay. Sounds more reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Whiskey.
Wineski, Schnapski.
Shake it, and add mint and cinnamon, which are mostly just for the vibes. So, yeah, mostly kind of like a whiskey with a little bit of lime and almond flavor.
Extra lime if you're Morgan.
Mm-hmm. I could see it. I could see it working.
Oh, I love the Umaneko filter on it. A bitter blessing.
I can't tell if this is like an actual picture that they grained the hell out of, or if it's drawn to look that way. Surely with that much lime, it's a sour blessing, no?
You want me to toss it out?
Thank you for the drink. But I'm nobody, Ryan. No one's coming to get me. Nobody even knows I exist.
Hope you're right.
I am.
Don't know if you're wrong until it's too late.
That mysterious little raccoon child.
Bottoms up. Get all that, Sarah?
Yes, boss.
Mysterious little raccoon child and also allegedly a hell assassin.
Yeah.
Hey, bottoms up is just an expression. You're supposed to sip it, for God.
One last thing. Apparently Sosuke's captors talked about some kind of huntsman.
The little lord's an urban huntsman. Huntsman's a goddamn boogeyman. Orcas shooting the shit around burning tires, trying to make the noobs afraid to go and piss by themselves.
Right, so they're bullshit. I got the same answer elsewhere, but...
Oh, they're very real.
Pardon?
Huntsman, not a species native to our shores, thank God, but they're real.
You just said they're boogeymen.
Yeah, and the fact that they exist is what makes them so damn scary.
Are they some sort of assassin? Like Bresson, the shooter in the courtroom?
Nothing so concrete. Huntsmen are virtual shapeshifters. You feel a chill down your spine one night on your way home from work, go to sleep. Wake up at night to a man wearing your own face choking the life out of you. Well, he calls your mom from your locked phone across the room in your own voice. Like I said, they're all overseas and more contested parts of the world where the Blue Bloods are better funded. You would pay for one of them to come into the country. You wouldn't pay for one of them to come into the country unless you had a really good use case or a weapon that only they could take full advantage of.
Uh-oh. Well, I'll be sure to pass that on to Sosuke.
Why? So Sosuke can start writing his will?
I wouldn't bet against him so long as he knows what he's up against. Urban legends are missed, but boogeymen are easy to kill.
How do you kill a boogeyman?
Same way I'd kill anyone else. With pleasure.
He's kind of awesome.
Kind of awesome. Oh, right. I actually need a recommendation from you.
What kind of recommendation?
A bar, I think, needs to be open tonight.
Oh. What are you looking for?
Well, it's, not for me, but... How much do you know about host clubs?
Yeah.
Catboy.
Oh, mer.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
That's what I said. You can't enter the crime scene until you pass our security clearances.
You've got to be... You're a drug-pushing lowlife. Why would I need your permission to go anywhere?
I take offense to that. I've never worked in pharma.
Hon, not the time to be a smartass. Reyes, it'll only take 30 seconds.
You're serious? This is reality? The city's expecting Blue Bloods to keep a crime scene secure. They're the ones committing the goddamn crimes.
Hey, if that's your criteria, half the police force should be disqualified. Or is excessive force not a real crime? Our battered spouse is not real victims. I guess assault's only assault when it's a real person on the receiving end.
Sinus is legitimate, Reyes.
Got her ass.
All the paperwork's in order and signed by our bosses.
These idiots are walking around barehanded and knocking shit over and leaving trash all over the goddamn place. Should we give them badges while we're at it? Let them investigate crimes too.
We already investigate crimes. You have any idea how many missing teens there are in the lower ward? No, because we find them, because we actually give a shit about the people who live down here.
Oh, and I'm sure your prices are very generous.
Better their parents get a bill from us than a letter of condolences from you. So sorry, man, but he looked suspicious as he was running away.
Han, not helping. Reyes, let's calm down. Sorry that I'm not calm when we've got actual orcas stomping all over the scene where a cop was murdered.
Last I counted, there were 5 bodies upstairs. Are both your eyes broken, or do you just not recognize anyone without a badge as human?
Perhaps we've come at a bad time. Nothing for it. Gotta strike while the iron's hot. The iron seems very hot in this instance, doesn't I? Sorry to interrupt, folks. Don't mind me, I'll just go take another look upstairs. Now you? Hey, why not? You nearly died once already today. Why not let these orcas give you the tour? Was that you giving me permission? No, you and London should both be at a goddamn hospital or whatever getting debriefed.
I need your permission. Frickin' Han getting that. She has mine.
Han being more hostile to the cop than to the lawyer that's working with her, like, her family's enemies.
Well, hold on. Being more hostile to that one specific cop.
Yeah, she's fine with London. Which I guess, like, really does just tell you that Reyes started it. If there was any doubt.
I mean, I think it says something that Han has flirted with literally every woman who's crossed her path, except Reyes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you can go right ahead upstairs.
Talk over me again and I'll break your finger.
Pardon me, everybody. I need to borrow my wife.
Whoa, the wife borrower. Borrow my wife. I'll go to jail now.
Okay. Did you get this line?
Oh, is that ad recording right now? That sounded like a threat.
You want to hear a threat? I'll... Clearly. This isn't gonna work. So Han, why don't you head upstairs and wait for Morgan?
I don't take orders from you.
Who do you take orders from? Want me to give them a call? Let them know you're going around kicking hornets' nests and scratching your head over why everyone's getting stung.
Whatever.
You think we can just walk away after the shit you said? Turn around and... take a walk, sunshine. London, if you think for even one... I'm not kidding, Farah. Take a walk. Forget it. You can all go to hell for all I care. Oh, for... No, not you. For God's sake. Sorry about the bad timing. No, that was gonna blow up no matter what. Situations like this require compromise, and Reyes is... uncompromising. At least you're around to balance her out. You might be the most compromised cop I've ever met. That was not a very nice thing to say. And it shows that you haven't met that many cops. I'm surprised you're still welcome around here after what happened in the courtroom. Oh, Bresson? The Blue Bloods are a big organization, and Bresson was pretty firmly on the other side. Gals like Han who work in the gray areas might as well live in a different world. If you say so. I just didn't think the Mafia would allow the death of one of their own to go unanswered. They sent him into a courtroom packed with police with a modded arm that only had one shot. I don't think they're surprised he didn't make it back. Will Detective Reyes be alright? She seemed angry.
More so than usual.
Yeah, she'll be alright. Blowing up, yelling, cursing, that's nothing. Practically healthy. It's the ones who go quiet you gotta worry about.
Ooh.
What brings you back here anyway?
We're pursuing leads.
Sounds serious.
Anyone go digging into Chopin after my implications earlier today?
Lady Rockford will probably take it seriously, if only to cross it off the list. But other than her, I think you mostly just pissed people off. Lucky for you, I was able to convince some techs to confirm your soundproof windows theory, but...
Get that marked off. Effectively soundproof when closed.
Don't expect to be welcome at City Hall anytime soon.
Hadn't counted on it. Whatever else he's innocent of, Chopin did get here before anyone else, and no one knows how.
Look, if he really did get some kind of coded message or secret text, there's no trace of it in any comm logs on his personal devices. And it didn't come from any of the tech we've examined on site.
Have you found any secret passages on the premises?
Afraid not, little lady. But maybe you'll have better luck than me.
Secret passages? In what world?
I do like... some amount of it is at least that, like, London is polite and a bit of a nicknamer, I guess. But it is fun that, like, he calls Emma a Lady Rockford.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your whole story back in the courtroom? You and Reyes happened to be in the area?
If you don't want to take my word for it, Reyes will tell you the same thing.
It doesn't seem like she'd want to talk to Adonai at the moment. Can you tell me exactly what you two saw when you arrived?
The 10999 went at it around 10:15 p.m., telling us that Chopin's heart had stopped. So we dashed across the street to an elevator. We were descending at 10:17 p.m. when Rogers reported that he was dead. At 10:21 p.m., we approached from the front of the building, saw the door ajar, lock blown in. Then Sunshine and I started clearing the first floor.
You didn't hurry up to the third floor where the dead cop was?
Like I testified, Chopin flatlined, and his own partner had confirmed it was no false alarm. We knew we couldn't do anything for him. Rogers had already apprehended the suspect, so SOP is we focus on securing the area and clearing the premises.
How level-headed. So the Officer Rogers we saw in court today really did take Sosuke down all by himself?
Yeah, charged in and pistol whipped him, right on the head.
I assume you found that the first floor was, in fact, clear.
Yeah, all these vaults were empty.
You didn't wait for Sinus to show up with the spare keys? Surprised you didn't throw your back out kicking down doors.
Sunshine helped. Besides, they weren't all locked.
They weren't?
Yeah, I remember that. That one right there was unlocked. Room 107.
Interesting. Physical key like all other doors on the premises, but nothing suspicious found in it.
Nothing inside there either, though. Guess the Blue Bloods missed a lock on a nightly roundup or something.
Sinus has unlocked every door in the building at this point, but when I first walked down this hall and when I walked out the front door later, how did this hall look then?
If you do manage to find some kind of silent alarm, I'll be impressed. If you prove that Chopin was dirty, I'll be floored. But even then, How the hell are you going to convince a jury that anyone other than Sosuke killed him?
It'll be difficult without accounting for the 4 dead blue bloods as well. But if you take it all in as one set, starts seeming plausible as an internal issue, don't you think?
What are you... You want to pitch this as the young bloods and old guard going at it? Over what?
The juicy bait that Chopin literally died over. Proposition 492.
But what's there to disagree about? That project would put money in everyone's pockets.
If my theory's correct, and Chopin was killed because the Youngbloods didn't want the Old Guard abandoning them, the Old Guard have always hedged their bets on the Little Lord returning. Does that mean the Red Ink plans to profit off of Prop 492 were a Youngblood conspiracy? Those papers weren't tucked inside Creek's safe before I arrived.
Well, good hunting.
You won't be joining us?
Not this time. I gotta go pump the brakes on Sunshine before she finds a bar. Try not to piss off the Blue Bloods with any more wild accusations while I'm gone.
I would never.
Take care. And that goes doubly for you, Sparky.
What does Sparky mean, by the way?
It's a nickname, because you're so bright.
A nickname?
But I guess people are always calling you ads whatever they like, huh? Sorry. Should have asked first.
What do you mean?
I'll just call you Sarah.
But it's my nickname. You gave it to me. You can't just take it back.
It's illegal.
Well, okay then, Sparky.
What the hell? Did you hate Spearmint that much? I would never want to seem ungrateful.
It's just that you say it like a slur.
Seems like the smell's starting to fade. Barely even the memory of blood now that so many feet have trodden through here. Nothing lasts forever. Miss Hahn?
What? No, I already called you this morning. No, they're not. No, they're not. Being paranoid. Yes, I'm sure. Yes, I'll call you tonight. Bye.
Didn't mean to interrupt another lover's quarrel.
What? Oh, no, that was... Dementia meds aren't working. They are confused this time of day. Get confused this time of day.
Sorry.
Forget it. That's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna turn my phone off for a minute and forget. Get Android, by the way. Again, Reyes is the only girl she won't compliment.
Yeah.
What's up?
There's a couple ways of going about this, but none of them are surefire. Might as well start out big and see if there's anything to this theory. Do the Blue Bloods use silent alarms?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for telling us.
Sure.
I'm actually going to need a bit more than that, Miss Hahn.
It's just Han.
Did Creek have a silent alarm? She's hesitating all of a sudden. Is she unsure of the answer, or did she just give her first answer without thinking about where it would lead?
Nothing like that installed in the building. Arks would have chewed it up and spat it out by now.
The axe is not flawless. It can miss things.
Look, you seen the level of tech we Blue Bloods have? It's secure, but it ain't subtle.
True. An Orca-run security firm wouldn't have quite as much luck hiding their subsystems from the police as David Asher did, Sarah. But the arcs can miss things that aren't tech at all. A silent alarm that's analog?
Let me know if you figured that one out. Either an alarm is analog and loud, or digital and silent. They don't mix.
She's defensive, but her logic is sound. Approaching it from the other angle, then. How could an analog silent alarm possibly function? A literal alarm, but one that can't be heard under normal circumstances. What a horrible smell in here. Like a dog whistle.
Sounds like a dog whistle in here.
You once bragged to me about your sense of smell. I don't think I was bragging. Could have sworn you puffed your chest out at the time. Doesn't matter. If I asked you to sniff something out, could you find it?
Well, I just remembered something.
What would you like me to look for? I still don't have a clear picture of what happened after I left, but there's one thing I know should be here that hasn't turned up once yet. The knife. Oh, wait a minute. The cigarette.
You did take it with you.
No, yeah, that's true. And I know the keys she hung back up. So never mind. Right. I'm the only one who knows about the knife. And while I don't know where it went, I do know it had plenty of blood on it when I last saw it. I want you to smell for blood. Adonai, do you really need me to help you find blood in here? I'm not asking you to sniff in here. I want you to smell out the window. I'll try. There are many strong smells in this part of the city, Adonai. But there is something truly unpleasant as well. Something beneath this fire escape.
She's going dog mode.
Okay. Now go fetch. You could ask nicely. Wait, Sarah? Yes? That's a very old, rusted fire escape. Take the stairs. You're too heavy. As you command, Adonai. Un instant. Several minutes later, Sarah returned, looking worse for wear and, seemingly, in a bad mood. Did the weight comment bother her that much? Adonai, I do not like digging through trash. It is not a dignified way to investigate. Digging in people's trash is the basis of all good investigation. Easy for you to say when you aren't wearing all white. Did you find something? Yes. My knife. And it's charred? I found it amongst the ashes of a blackened steel drum below the fire escape. It seems to have been the site of a fire. That sounds familiar. Wasn't there a barrel burning in the alley when I first scoped the place out? There were signs of a chemical flame retardant being applied to the barrel. Police must have put the fire out when they first secured the scene. Meaning the knife wasn't in a fire all night, but still. There does indeed appear to be blood on this knife, Adonai. So how did both the police and Sionist miss it? Their noses aren't as good as yours, evidently. That is true.
Puffing just that again.
But they have drones and dogs for this kind of thing. Yeah, but they have to actually use them.
They'd have no reason to search the vicinity for a bloodied knife if they found a sword sticking out of a corpse's midsection. Shall we ask the police to check for fingerprints? Fingerprints are mostly oil and sweat. Fire evaporates them both. Then we have to test and see whose blood is on that knife. But DNA is damaged by heat as well. You know, before DNA analysis, blood had another forensic use. You mean blood typing? The DNA on the knife might be too damaged, but modern analytical tools should be able to at least identify blood typing. That could work, Adonai. Great. Ready to get started? Pardon? You were capable of recognizing my DNA, weren't you? When we first met? Yes, but... So why don't you try your hand at analyzing blood type? It's gotta be simpler, right? It might be, but Adonai, to analyze the blood on this knife, I would have to use my tongue. Pretend it's a lollipop or something. It's blood. Well done, blood. It'll taste like beef. You don't know what human blood tastes like. Of course I don't. Look, the fire sanitized it, probably. Just get it over with. Morgan's unending cruelty.
I love that I could see her either being true or completely lying, that she doesn't know what human blood tastes like.
Right. You have to imagine something's happened, but she is a stickler for cleanliness.
She can also just as much be the type of person who's just like, ew, that's disgusting.
Yeah. I will reference this
I like
incident.
seeing blood, not tasting it.
Purely an aesthetic interest. I will reference this incident the next time we discuss raises, Adonai. Fine by me. 'Cause that's never happening. Analyzing flavor profile. Analysis complete. What have you got?
Get it out.
There is blood from more than one person present. Mostly B negative, I believe, with some AB minus around the tip. Alright, now I can cross-reference that with the rest of the data I have. O negative. B negative. A negative. Wait a minute.
What's up?
O positive. So who else? Interesting. So used on Miller, which we knew, but then also maybe potentially used on Sasuke in some way. Thank you for the report, Sarah. You've given me a new lead to follow. Yes, Adonai. And you've just made your first forensic contribution to an ongoing criminal investigation. How many androids can say that? Now, come on. We've got some boxes to tick. Mass-produced, medium-sized, quote-unquote combat knife sold at a wide variety of outdoors or hunting vendors. Recovered from an ash-filled barrel in the alley just outside the crime scene. Clear signs of blood on the blade despite being charred.
Sarah's unique but nonetheless admissible forensic analysis found the presence of type B negative and type AB negative. Last time I'll ever leave something important with Sosuke. How the hell did it end up outside?
Oh, right. She, slipped it into his hands when he was, still tied up.
Mm-hmm. So it could be, maybe he mentioned, nicking himself with the blade while he was trying to free himself. No! Yes. I think he said that the blindfold was on tight enough that he had to cut it off, so he might have broken the skin. Plus, yeah, if it's only around only a little bit around the tip. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick scan just to kind of... Something else to read, that's funny. Couple more things to check. Okay, we are right at time to wrap it up, so I think we are going to go ahead and...
Oh, perfect.
Save that up. That's a pretty decent stopping point for next week.
Rare, dead-on, solid stop.
For real.
Allow me to leave your audience with words of wisdom.
Go ahead.
I just discovered that I have not cracked open the fortune cookie that came with my my chicken from a couple days ago. Teach your children the value of authenticity and staying true to themselves. Well,
not the worst.
Kind of seems like it's more like life tips than fortune.
Yeah, for sure. But that's usually the vibe I get from fortune cookies these days.
Cowardly predict my future.
For real.
Find my pages.
But that is gonna do us today. So thank you everybody for being here. Let me do it quick. Another shout out.
Okay.
Regular streams on Tuesdays, right?
Yep.
Getting up to some business tomorrow.
Yes, still working at that that jank JRPG.
Hell yes.
That jank JRPG that when I stopped yesterday, the hurdle in front of me when I pick it back up is that a horse is constipated. I'm dead serious.
I believe you. And thank you for watching, everybody. We ended up skipping Friday streams because of a few reasons, but we should be back on track this week to dig into Silent Hill F in some kind of way. Just gotta make sure I do the requisite prep time on Wednesday or Thursday. And then more of the devil next Monday. If you would like to get updates on streams and things like that, you can find us on Tumblr. I've also been trying to draw promos for streams more often, so sometimes there will be a cute bit of art to announce a stream.
Yeah, given that you were recently looking for the manipulator thing, I almost thought you were gonna draw Morgan based on it.
That would have been funny. I'm just fond of it.
Perhaps some other time.
Could be the move. And then, if you want to catch up with the VODs, you can find them on YouTube. And if you want to support us a little bit monetarily, yeah, that's a word. We have a Ko-Fi account. All usernames are JuniPops, same spelling as the Twitch channel. And 2 of them are linked in the Twitch description as well. I keep meaning to add the YouTube VODs just to have them, but... And for now, I hope everybody has a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye.